454.
454, if you didn't hear that. Be the song we'll sing is an encouragement song just real soon here. Get everything together here. He who digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone, it'll come back on him. That's in Proverbs 26 and 27. You know, it's a figurative type speaking of digging a hole and then you fool around and fall in it. You've seen that all your lives, I guess. People will start doing something. They think they're, we know it, we're so arrogant and such of a high ego that we begin to think that we're above God and we can't do no wrong. Man is notorious for thinking that. He can guide himself in a manner that'll lead to righteousness. He don't realize that he is digging a pit. All these things that the various, easily start getting into that doesn't seem to matter much. It just, a little bit here and a little bit there. And after a while, he's dug a big hole and he falls in it. And eventually he'll fall into the pit that he's dug and find himself totally without God. That's happened time and time in the world. And it's happening today. And then that brings about the fact that the proverb is true. That he who digs a pit will fall into it. And if he rolls a stone, it could roll back over and crush him. But in the New Testament, that was not so with the Thessalonians. They were a group of people that were ever doing what they needed to be doing. The apostle wrote about them. He said, we give thanks to God always for all of you, making mention of you in our prayers, constantly bearing in mind your work of faith and labor of love and steadfastness of hope in our Lord Jesus Christ in the presence of our God and Father, knowing, brethren, beloved by God, his choice of you. See, they weren't doing those type things. They were staying on top like they need to be. They had hope, they had faith, and they had love. That's what we need today. The world needs more hope and faith and love in each other and in God, especially in God. Had the apostle lived long ago, a long time before that, he could not have said those words. He just couldn't have done it. Those people were doing properly, but long ago that he couldn't have said that. Because for even though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or be given thanks. But they became futile in their speculations, and their foolish hearts was darkened. Romans 1 and verse 21, in reference to eons gone back past, he's referring to the time when they didn't do nothing like that. They had digging a hole and they was falling in it and they couldn't get out. If you please, they was deep in the hole. Even if one doesn't know anything about God, you just think about it. If you did not even know anything about God, never heard nothing about God in your life, you get up in the morning, you go out and look around. How in the world can you even comprehend what's there without thinking that there's somebody higher, got more clout than anything that we know here on this earth? For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, even being understood through what is made, so that they are without excuse. Romans 1 and verse 20, and it's talking about what you see. All the things you see. You go out and you look up in the sky, and you look around you see the trees, the grass. And in the first place, you got something to see it with. I mean, it's just amazing, and why people can go through their life and not understand that there is a God. I can never comprehend. I cannot fathom that whatsoever. And I know a person I've talked to several times believes there is no God. No God. He says it. He says it out plain, and he don't care who says it. But instead of seeing this and understanding this at one time in history, instead of these people could look around and see that, they became so corrupt that God said, "That's it. That's enough. I've had it. I've had it." And for this reason, he gave them over to degrading passions. For their women exchanged the natural function of that which is unnatural, and in the same way also men abandoned the natural function of the women. You listen to this stuff. And burned in their desire toward one another, men with men committing indecent acts, receiving in their own persons due penalty of their error. And just as they did not see fit to acknowledge God any longer, God gave them over to a depraved mind to do those things which are not proper, being filled with all unrighteousness, wickedness, greed, evil, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, malice. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, arrogant, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, without understanding, untrustworthy, unloving, unmerciful. And although they know the ordinance of God, that those who practice such things are worthy of death, they not only do the same, but also give hearty approval to those who practice them. Romans 1, verses 26 through 32. You think about that. You see it all the time. You see that stuff every day around us. It's around us all the time. People are today still have depraved minds, and they're doing things that are absolutely abomination in the sight of God. And it's going to cost. It's going to cost it. You know, God has destroyed nations because of stuff like that, and He can still do it. We sometimes, I think, we've gotten to the point that, like some of these people, that we think that, you know, He's an old person now. He's back off here. We need to be a little more modern. We need to modernize. We're living in the digital age. We need to modernize now, and that's what they're doing. They're modernizing these things that they're doing here. They're doing them. They're abomination to God. And I'm going to tell you, some of these days they're going to reap what they've sown. You think today, men and women have left the natural use of their bodies. Homosexuality is just it's rampant. And you know what? They call it pride. They're proud of it. Just like these people were back here. They had to, and those that practice such things where they're dead, they not only do them, but they give hearty approval to those that do it. You know, they love it. It's look at all the things that they're guilty of. We see those things happening today all around us, and those that practice such things are proud of it. Even remember the pride parades and things they had in Nashville ain't been too long back. They're doing that all over the country. In fact, they do it all over the world. Pride. It's pathetic. So after it's all said and done, what can we as Christians do about this? I tell you what we can do. We can continue to teach the gospel, live it, and God will take care of the rest. God will take care of the rest. We teach the gospel and we live it. We do what it tells us to do. We act like we should. Leave the rest of it alone. God will take care of it. He took care of it then, He'll take care of it again. No problem. He done it once with water. This time He's going to do it with fire. So we need to be prepared. So that you may prove yourselves to be blameless and innocent children of God, above reproach in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you appear as lights in the world. Philippians 2:15. You know, we are the only lights that are in the world. We are the only Christ that people will see in this world is Him through us. If we, sitting back on our laurels and not doing nothing, that's what they do. They see it. They don't even give us any thought. But if we're continually teaching this gospel and we're living like we're teaching it, they take notice. People take notice of that. They do. And if they don't, I mean, I've heard that. Well, and you have too. People I've talked to, they said, I'm just as well off as they are. Well, now in some cases that's probably true, but it ought not be that way. And if we continually teach the gospel and do it, that's the point, and do it, live in it, then we will be blameless and innocent children of God in a crooked and perverse generation in which we live, and we're living in a crooked and perverse generation of time right now. The time it's closer than it's ever been, coming to an end, and especially some of us. You look around you that the people people that are your friends, how many of them are 25 and 30. There's not many. That's another group. We're in this group that's on up here getting ready to open the door into heaven. It's happening all today, all around us. A friend of ours the other day had a heart attack and died instantly. I mean, it's happening all around us. But if we live like we should, it's no big deal. It's just a welcoming home. But these things that I've talked about here tonight, they're all the way around us, and we need to, it's a scary thing to bring up children in this world now. I just would hate to have to try to do it because it's pitiful what goes on. I was just talking to, I don't know, somebody today that their kid went off. They had them here when they was age, and like our kids today, they're small, teaching them the way they should go. They got out of high school. They went to college. They came back radicals. I had 2 people today to tell me that happened to their children in college. And now they can have no control over them. They're in the left, what they call the far left. Everything is all right. People living together is all right. Homosexuality is all right. That's what they're saying. That's what comes out of the colleges. We need to guard against it some way and somehow. And the best way to do it is to teach the gospel, live by it, and teach our younger folks to do the same thing. Hopefully that's been beneficial. I got to thinking about it, and the more I thought about it, the more pitiful it seems. The state that we've got ourselves into in this world today, it's going back just like it was in the days when God turned them loose and let them do whatever they wanted to. And there's so many people today that he's already done that to, and you see it all around us. The prisons are full of them, and it's happening again. We need to be as guard much as we can against it. There's an invitation song selected that you've always come together. We want to offer the invitation. There could always be someone in the audience that would want to be baptized or would like to have prayers to the church or any such thing of that. And it's a fine time to do that as we stand and sing this song.
Well,